Now that we've installed and created our Oracle Application Express environment, let's hop in and start developing applications. As you can see, I specify the movies_WS workspace, my developer username, which is Paul, and his login. I have a lot of different options available to me on this page, but the most obvious one looks like Application Builder, where I would start building my first application. When I click on Application Builder, you can see that there's no applications found. If you remember from the hierarchy in our previous set of lessons, at the top level we have a workspace, and underneath that we have applications. For our movies_WS workspace, we haven't created any applications yet, so none of them show up on this page. You'll see a couple of the graphical elements on this developer page that is common to many applications. A set of tabs along the top of the screen that list all applications, database applications, web sheet applications, and packaged applications. And then a set of icons that allow me to change the way I see information on this page. Right now, we don't have any applications, so we can't show a lot of the functionality of these different buttons, but as soon as we go ahead and create some applications, we'll come back to this so that we can see what all of the different functions do. If we click on the Create button, we're then presented with a page that gives us the opportunity to select what type of application we want to create. We can create a database-based application, a web sheet application, or a packaged application. Most lessons in this section will deal with database-based applications. With database-based applications, you have the full gamut of support within the Oracle Application Express environment. All of the features of Oracle Application Express are available to you when you're creating a database-based application. Web sheet applications have a limited subset of features that you can build inside of an Application Express application. Why would you ever want to build a web sheet application which only has a limited subset of features? Web sheet applications are really good for power users inside of your organization. You may want to give them the ability to go in and create their own applications inside of Apex. They may not be full-blown developers where they care about all of the functionality that comes along with Apex. They may just want the ability to go in there and query some basic information from the database and arrange it in such a way that they can do their jobs more efficiently. Packaged applications are sample applications that come along with the installation of Apex. These packaged applications are really good for seeing how things are done in Application Express and getting ideas on how to build your own applications. Some of the package applications can have their code copied into your application, so you can see how a certain feature was implemented and then integrated inside of your application relatively easily. Like I mentioned, almost all of the work that we're going to be doing in these lessons are going to focus around database-based applications. If you need to get any more information about these, you can always click the About link here at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to select Database. I'm presented with another page in the wizard. You will become very familiar with all of the wizards inside of Application Express very quickly. Along the top of the screen, you'll see a progress bar to show you where you are in terms of the wizard for creating an application. You also have the ability to skip over a lot of these pages by selecting the Create Application button here. This final Create Application will not always be available to you depending on where you are in the wizard, but sometimes you can go ahead and skip over a lot of the pages in the wizards by taking all of the default values and just selecting Create Application. So here you can see we are prompted for some basic information about the application we want to create. The application is automatically assigned a number. We can change this number if we need to, but most of the time you won't have to. We obviously want to change the name of our application and give it something meaningful. So we're going to give it a meaningful name and call it Movie Maintenance. The schema defaults to the schema that was created for us when we created our workspace. If you remember in the previous lessons, we had to specify a schema that will hold all of the PL/SQL objects that the Oracle Application Express wizards will create. We selected movies as part of our movies_WS workspace. And you can see that's the only one that's available to us now. We can create an application automatically with a home page. We can start from scratch, or we can create our own application models. For now, let's just create one using and including a home page. We can create applications based on two basic user interfaces, the desktop user interface and the jQuery mobile smartphone interface. The desktop interface is designed for those applications that are going to be accessed using a traditional desktop browser. If you want to create a mobile-based application, you can select jQuery mobile smartphone. The objects that will be automatically generated for you will all be mobile specific and understand certain things on a mobile device that are not available on a traditional web-based environment. Things like swiping or long pressing. You can also have an application that has both user interfaces incorporated into it. This is pretty common when you have an application that is accessed by both users in a traditional web environment and users who are going to access it on a mobile device. As we'll see later on, it's very easy to create an application where the first page detects the browser being used and then redirects the user either to the desktop interface or the mobile interface. But in order to start creating your application, we have to define one of these as our user interface. I'm going to select desktop. I can skip over all of the different pages in the wizard by clicking the Create Application button here, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to select Next and go to the next page of the wizard. By default, we automatically have a home page that is generated for us automatically that's blank, and we can add other pages as part of the application creation process, or we can go later on after the application has been generated and we've made modifications to it and add more pages there. We can select the type of page that we're going to add to our application. And by selecting this type of page, all we're really doing is saying, give us a new page, and for that page, create a region on the page that's of a specific type, whether it's a report in form, tabular form, master detail, chart. These are not the only options that are available to us when we're selecting regions to be on a page. There's way more than this. But just to get you started, the wizard gives you a couple of the most common options. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to say I want a report and a form that's also generated for me automatically as part of this application creation process. So I'm going to say report and form. It's going to ask me which table I want to base this report and form on. I'm going to select movie. And what type of report do I want to see on this page? Do I want an interactive report or a classic report? If all of this seems kind of overwhelming at this point, don't worry. We're going to go through all the different options and details. But for now, I just want to show you an overall view of what it's like to create an Application Express.